and you, come on. Yeah, you. Bring all your friends over. Come on. Lots of lovely bread. Oh, yeah, this is the good stuff. Good stuff. Come on. Yeah, bring all your friends over. That's it. Right over there. There you go. Keep going. Hello. So I know you're not supposed to feed pigeons because it sort of encourages them really, and they make a massive mess. But that's where my neighbour parks, and I fucking hate him. So the bird's going to shit all over his car. It's good, isn't it? Hey, yeah, and you. Oh, you're a big one, aren't you? You're going to leave a lovely little one all over his windscreen. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, good to see you again. So this week I'm going to talk a little bit about agencies. And I guess my call to arms this week is, agency fam, you need to learn to speak a client. Okay? So let's go back to some basics. So most of us believe in market orientation. Okay? That's focusing on what the market wants and needs rather than the product or rather than the company. Okay? So brand side marketers have known this for years. Well-trained agency marketers know the same thing. And yet still there's a disconnect between what clients want and what agencies think they want. You know, having been both sides of the fence and kind of been in blended roles, I've got a bit of a different view of it. But I just wanted to kind of go through here what I think agencies could be doing better to be better partners for their clients and ultimately therefore do better business. So one thing that's kind of been said a few times is that something like only 5% of client time is spent on projects related to agencies. 5%. Certainly that's been said about CMOs, but I can attest to that as well from my time at the Lego Group. Because there's just other priorities. Okay, so it could be anything from getting space on shelf, being able to fit a seasonal marketing calendar, or just plain old internal politics or getting budgeting. There's so much stuff that goes on brand side that actually the creative stuff, the really interesting stuff, actually the stuff that most clients really enjoy getting involved with is a much lower priority. So, you know, I guess one way of looking at it is the quality of creative or the likely effectiveness of a campaign really doesn't matter if your product is stuck on a ship down the Suez Canal. And trust me, I had that one year. It was not fun. So, yeah, what can we do really? What can agencies do to better understand and be a better partner? So I've got a few pointers. So firstly, you know, support your client directly as well as on the project that you've been billed to do. Yeah, what I mean by that is make their job easy, make them look good to their bosses, support them and their career. Okay, that way you build trust. And then, yeah, take the pain away. Take the pain away from them. Don't add to it. You know, give them back their time to do what they can do. Because as you see, 95% of it isn't the stuff that our agency buddies are involved with. But if you can take the pain away and not be that agency that's constantly demanding, you're going to get much more respect and you're much more likely to get recommissioned. And you know, that kind of also goes on to you've got to appreciate their time, respect their time. So when you've got them, go prepared, get everything you need out of the situation, download it, report it back, because they're just not going to have the time to keep tipping in. Okay, and they'll appreciate you for it. They'll feel seen and understood. And you know, kind of, by understanding how they work, you can become a trusted partner, and that is fantastic for agency business. And again, I say that as someone who's founded a couple of agencies and who's been business director at a couple of agencies. If you can build that degree of trust where someone knows they're in a safe pair of hands and you're going to deliver a fantastic result for them without dragging them through the hedge backwards, they're going to come back. And you know, kind of, I think one of the things that I would say about that is if you can be the agency that listens, then you're going to be on a head start against anyone. They'll go on to new roles and they'll come in for you because you're the person that listens, you're the agency that listens. Think of all the agencies that your clients are most likely dealing with, either direct competitors to you or in other areas. You know, let's say you're a branding agency, they're probably dealing with a PPC agency as well. Most of them talk at them rather than listening. Most of them preach. Don't be the preacher, be the one that listens. Now that doesn't mean that you just simply bow to their whims. You're there with your expertise. That's why they're bringing you in. You've got to push back where you feel there's a need to push back. You've got to educate where that's going to help the campaign and their business. But do it in a way that, wherever possible, is lightening their load. So, as I said before, I've got a lot of this experience really myself from running a business where you are both a client to somebody and, through the nature of the agency world, you have clients. And I know what I don't like. And I was able to then kind of take that through, because you understand the process of running a business. You understand the priorities, finance, HR, all of these things that take up so much of your time, particularly if you're running a creative business like an agency. They're not the stuff that you enjoy, but unfortunately they take up the time, and you end up kind of employing in to replace what maybe you were good at in the first place. So I understood that, and I'm through that, and through kind of being in slightly blurred roles, where a sales marketing director or business director, where you are responsible for business of the agency as well as selling the agency, and also my time in-house, I've learned to speak client, and that's been a major benefit to me in my agency career, because I've been able to go in and win business that maybe other agencies were better placed don't win, because I know what they want and I know how to speak to what they want. So, as a personal example of how this can play out. So I mentioned being at the Lego Group earlier because it's the Lego Group, of course I'm going to mention it. But interesting thing happened to me where, as an agency leader, I pitched and won a really good gig with the Lego Group. It was a fantastic gig. We worked on it. A couple of years later, it still hadn't gone live, and I was getting frustrated with the client. Why haven't you signed this off? It seemed like such a small thing that he had to do to get it off. And it just never went live, and I forgot about it a little bit. And then guess what? I rocked up at the Lego Group myself a couple of years later, and that same project was given to me as my project client side. So the thing that was my agency baby is now my client project. But I had all my other priorities. I had Star Wars Day, I had Super Nintendo, I had Black Friday, we had different launches, different releases, we had promoting the program that we were running, in store, everywhere else. And guess what? I left Lego without that project going live. And it's never gone live, and it never will go live. But it was the right thing to do. I had to do what was right for the business. And ultimately, although that would have been a fantastically successful campaign, I know that and everybody else knew that, it didn't matter when we were shifting units and we had a day job to do, in effect. So, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight. And again, let's go to become the trusted go-to person, become the ear. If someone wants to ask a piece of advice that might not even involve a project you're on, if you're that person, you've got a head start on everybody. And one last thing. Don't assume that you know the client's business better than they do. I know it's something a lot of agencies say, and it's just not true, okay? And I can say from the client side, it boils a lot of piss. So really try to understand their role in the business. Try to understand holistically as much as you can about how things work, but never assume you know better. And just be aware of their priorities probably aren't what you're working on, although they might like it. So take that on board, go do better business. Anyway, I need to get back to filling this car up with shit. Come on. Yeah, that's it. So what? Have the whole bagel. There you go. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's wonderful. It's like a shitty Jackson Pollock.